How do I feel about it? Okay, so let me say this. So on the charts, in October, I'm on the billboards myself. I don't tell everybody, but I've been, the highest I've been was 41. That was in October, and I'm still climbing on the
Hmm.
billboards and the
Thank you.
charts. I will say this: the charts are very skewed, especially for the gospel industry. So for me, I wouldn't really get caught up in them as much because, to be honest, they change from day to day and from really from week to week. I will say this:
Hmm.
West, he has such a big platform, that nobody in gospel, including unfortunately Kirk Franklin, you get what I'm saying? No one can
Right.
compete on that
Right.
level. And so for me, it's no hating at all. I think what he did was phenomenal. I think it was great. It's just we don't have the capacity. No gospel artist has the capacity because they are, one,
Hmm.
they're not a billionaire, so that's the biggest key. I think that's what we tend to forget. He is a
Hmm.
billionaire. He can put his money wherever he wants to, and he can dominate any chart he wants. So that's the
Hmm.
thing. And when you're doing promotions, radio promotion and billboard charts, you have to pay money to get on these charts.
Hmm.
So, if you're not going to spend thousands of dollars, then you're not going to make placements on these charts. And that's for me as an indie artist and for mainstream people. And people don't understand that. So for me, I think what he's done has been great. Unfortunately, I do think that it does hurt some of our gospel, artists, like your Jacalans and Jonathan Reynolds, who are like trying to break through and they
Hmm.
think that this is their year. Then all of a sudden he comes out with something. But I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do. It's kind of like the Tori Kelly issue when she came out as well, where they think they're getting a Grammy and she comes out and boom, she gets the Grammy
Right.
for it. There's nothing we can
Right.
really do about it. And I think it's just the gospel industry. We have to be, I think we have to create our own lanes as well. Some things it's just not meant to be always mainstream for our industry
Hmm.
because unfortunately you have people that can double dip. He can double dip. You get what I'm saying? He could be on the R&B charts, the pop charts. He can be on
On
every
all of
chart.
them. Yes.
Yeah, if he now he can't get on country because they kind of have like a way, they kind of bar, you have to have a country sound. But gospel
Hmm.
is still like an open genre, so he can double dip into it. So I mean, it doesn't bother me. I know a lot of people get really upset about it, but I mean, it is what it is. I think he makes great music. The band is great. I love it. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I love the music as well, but I was wondering just because when you go into gospel, and I guess like growing up in a church family, maybe that's a conversation that we're more used to of just hearing about, oh, artists that went R&B and pop. Like I remember my grandmother talking about Sam Cooke. So it's always kind of a conversation when you're, a church kid and you go a different way. Um, and now trying to come back to it, sometimes people can be a little offended and say like, well, no, you left. So I just was really, because he's not the only one. Like he's opened doors for other people, and I would say, like, I love his music. I appreciate what he's done. I definitely, listen on my hikes and whatnot. But it also kind of made me question, like, what other artists can we expect, like, from different genres to like try to dip their toe into the gospel music field, and is that fair?
He said, yeah, I think for me. I think it's an open thing. If Beyonce wants to come across, I mean, what can we do? You can't do anything about it. If her decided to, if Brandy Norwood, you can't do anything about it. Jasmine Sullivan, I can name so many of them. They have church backgrounds. If Tank wanted to come across, so it's
Mm-hmm.
just like it's nothing you can do. And I think for us, I hear a lot of church people. We get really bent out of shape about people doing that or whatever, and for me, or even
Right.
with gospel artists collaborating with them, and it's just like we got to be realistic. We live in the world, people. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
you it's nothing wrong with collaborating with people at times. I mean, we live in the world, and I think that in order to reach the world, you have to collaborate with people of different walks of life, different cultures. You just can't always be with Christian people because you're a Christian. Sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
have to collaborate with Muslims. It's okay. I think we're not diverse when it comes to things like that, and that's why the gospel industry is so small, because we're not open for capacity and being a bigger genre, because we're so small, because we're just very small for a reason. Put it like that. I'm trying to say it without being not
I mean,
PC,
I was
but
gonna say it, but
you and that's why
I
we're
feel
so
like
small. We haven't went to the nations, because we like to hone our own. We undermine each other as well, and so therefore it's no growth within the industry, because we're not open-minded for people. It's a lot of indie artists, I'm telling you, that I have met. Todd Delaney was just talking about it, that are amazing, like just as good as the mainstream, might be way better. I'm serious, and it's just like baffling. But the gospel industry, we're not as open to receiving new artists. We're not open to receive. They're not as open for some reason. I don't know why that is, but I mean, you see it with R&B. They let her. She's been a new artist. Ella May, Summer Walker. But the gospel industry, who are your new artists?
Yeah, but
we don't really.
Go ahead.
We don't really hear like every year of 5 to 10 people that are new. You got your Rich Tolberts, certain people, but it's like, it's so many people who are great within this industry that people never have heard of. And it's like, oh my word. I mean, I've met so many great people. I'm like, whoa, like powerhouses that can sing with anybody. And their music, their production. And it's just like, we only see certain people at the award shows and on the stages in the industry. So I don't know, but maybe that's what we need, is to have Kanye to come dip into it, because we're opening up the doors for other people either. So I don't know. I hate to say
I've got to agree with you, because I feel like the gospel industry is like a reflection of, unfortunately, the church in itself. It's like we stick to our little corners, our 4 and no more, and that's it. And like, I like this new generation that is saying, hello, we're here, and we love God, we love Christ. Like, our walk may not look the same as yours, but we still are preaching the same thing. And they're trying to, shake some tables. I guess that's what I would say. Kanye kind of shook a few tables just to say, like, it doesn't have to look like how you expect it to look like. But I feel like in the church world, the Black church world, we tend to put people in boxes a lot.
We
don't let them out of those. We don't let them out of those boxes, which is so unfortunate, because like, there's so much of, like you just said, like, there are so many out there. Like, we could really rule if y'all would let us. But
and that's the thing, we don't allow people to spread their wings, like you said. It's like, if they sound a little different. My big bro YPJ, for years, their sound was, Dream Music, their sound was incredible. But because they were different, no one would really give them an opportunity for years. There's so many people who are really, really great musically, and because they don't have a churchy sound, if you don't squall, if you don't scream, then they won't receive you. It's really unfortunate. It's the same thing kind of with the preaching. If you're a teaching type of preacher in the, in the African American church, they won't receive you. But if you're squalling and cliche, if you use a whole bunch of cliches, and it's like, for me, I'm like, I'm over it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's so much more. I learn more with the teaching aspect for me, because it's like, I want to learn and grow more with the things of the Word of God and stuff like that. And we're moved by the squalling, the screaming, and the hollering. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't mind it. But it's like, we're just one dimensional. Do you get what I'm saying? And there's so many people who have so many gifts. It's just not one way to do a set thing. And I think it's doing a disservice to the industry. It just did. Unfortunately, we just kind of have to deal with it. Like you said, we have our corners, and we hear who we hear, and that's who charts. And so I'm not, like I said, I think what Kanye did was great, because if he didn't chart, it's going to be somebody else that we all know who's going to be number one within industry. The more predominant names. It's not going to be a new name too much. So hey, more power to him, and hopefully he keeps creating that type of music, and sticks it out. I mean, I don't know him
Yeah.
personally clearly, so yeah.
Right. Right. No, no, I hope he sticks it out. But most importantly, I think like one of the things is like I guess it's stop. Like I hope he sticks it out. Also as an artist, but myself as a creator, producing this show, like one of the most important things is like no matter if we stick it out or not, like I hope with everything that we put out, at least one life is touched, one soul is changed, like one person is turned or
Yes.
changed. And that was the purpose of this show, just like we are not all the same, and I want to make sure that like there are more Black Christian women out there that know, like, no, we are not in the long skirts and the church hats all the time. Like we are multifaceted. Like we do a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And we're pretty dope. And we love God on top of that. So that brings me to singleness. Miss Ma'am.
Yeah.
Being in this world, being in this life, you know, doing what we do, it can be a challenge. And I know like our days, we fill them with things that we do. Like we have work, we have business, we have family. But at the end of the day, I remember one person asked me, like, are you a robot? Do you not care if you have a man or not? And I had to really think, like, it's not that I don't care, but it just, you know, if you think about it. So tell me, I want to ask you, how do you get through those days, those moments of like, hey, I really want this, but I'm doing this right now?
Well, for me, you know, it's always good to have that venting person that you can talk to it from time to time. But I will say for me, I try not to let it consume me. Of course, you do have those days, like you said, it could be a rainy day or something. All of a sudden, it just jars you or something like that. But I mean, for me, it's one of them things where you know you own it. You know what I mean? It's a part you don't allow it to consume you, where it overtakes you, and you know you're dealing with it for like a whole year. Every day is your focal point, but you own it in those moments and you accept how you feel. It's important to, however you feel, it is okay, because it is tough. It can be tough some days. Some nights can be tough. You know what I mean? It's rough. It's one of them things, especially when you're a woman who has standards. You get what I'm saying? And you have certain expectations for yourself, and you're not a person who settles for less and stuff like that. And that's how I am. So for me, it can be very tough. Sometimes you be like, why am I even what's the word, like wired like this? Do you get what I'm saying? Because it's like, seems like everybody else is having fun doing whatever they want to do. That kind of comes up in your brain too. And it's like, and I'm not having any fun. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, but it's like, you have to
I
stick
totally
again. What you say? So for me, it's like, you gotta stick to your guns.
No, you do. You have to stick to your guns. And I have had those moments of like, let me try this, how everybody, but I'm not wired that way. Like, it doesn't work.
Yeah, you're not wired.
Like, I'm like, this is not.
For me, I'll be caught up immediately, honey. I'll have twins or something. It'll just be a whole mess. So it's just like, oh no.
So I'd rather not.
Yeah, it'll be a whole conundrum of whatever that is. So for me, it's just, you have to wait patiently. And I stick to, good things come to those who wait. I have several friends who are still single, several phenomenal, well-educated, beautiful, amazing, you get what I'm saying, women. So it's like, and that's the thing too, I know in the scripture, I think it was Elijah who thought he was the only prophet left. A lot of times, the enemy will make you feel like you're the only one. You know how that go too. It's just me. And you have a pity party thinking it's just you. And it's not just you. It's many other people with the same issue that you're dealing with, or the same problem. And you just have to just keep pressing, keep moving, keep believing, even when you don't want to believe, and keep going even when you don't want to keep going. You know what I mean? Because you do want to just be like, I'm sick of this, I'm done. But you have to keep going and believing that whatever God has for you, it is for you, and don't settle. I think that's the biggest piece for me. Don't settle, because whoever he has for you is tailor-made for you. And when you settle, so many people have settled. um I think it was King J Barnett. I think he put up a post, I don't know if you've seen it the other day. He was just saying that I hate to say it over the live, but I will say it. He was just saying that a man marries who he wants, and he cheats on whatever he needs or something like that. And it was just like, it just scared me, like, whoa. So when you hear stuff like that, don't settle. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
who wants to be dealing
Don't
who
settle.
wants to be dealing with that? It's like, yeah, don't settle, because it's like, I don't want to have to go through misery. I just do not.
Right.
I haven't seen my mother go through that. My grandparents didn't. Both my sets of my grandparents, I mean, they've been married both for
Right.
65 and 53 years. So it's just, I haven't seen a marriage that's actually been struggling. And I'm sure they had their ups and downs, but back in that day, they didn't tell you, so we will
Right.
never know. But but the level of transparency, but it's just stick to your guns. My grandmother would always tell me, you need to come off your high horse, granddaughter, stuff like that. She would say that, and sometimes meet him where he's at. She would tell me that. And I remember her saying that, and I agree with her to an extent, but I'm not coming too far off the saddle. So,
Right.
yeah.
Don't get off your horse. Maybe take a leg off. Don't get off the horse. But who am I to talk? Ride this horse into.
I'm gonna ride the horse, honey.
Right, like this is. But no, that goes back to no compromise, though, and what I know you for. Like, you saying all of that, like it ties into who you are as a person, and I gotta say, I'm very proud of you. I'm godly proud of you, as an older cousin, but just as a woman in general, because you do a lot. And I have to say that you do a lot that I didn't know women were really doing until I met you and saw you, like, making your moves and doing your things. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, there's more to this. Like, you don't just stand up in front of a mic and sing. Like, you can have a voice, you can have a thought, you can have an opinion, you can have your vision and see it to fruition without compromising your values, your look, yourself. Because I'm sure there's a lot of pressure, like, oh, you could go mainstream in a minute doing this, that, and the other. I mean, everybody calls you little Kelly Rowland lookalike. My cousin is gorgeous, but I appreciate that you don't. Not. Yes, I did. I appreciate that.
Everybody used to call me that. Oh my word.
Yes. But that's one of the things I love about you, is that you don't compromise, and you do not, like, this relationship with God in Christ, like, your salvation is not game. It's not a joke. You really walk what you talk, you live what you believe in. And for that, I can say hats off to you. Like, keep doing your thing and keep doing what you're doing, because it's gonna all, like, I know one day at the Grammys, I'm gonna see my cousin on there accepting a Grammy Award. We're gonna get there. I don't know how, but it's gonna happen.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. I will say this, like you said, it is a no compromise type of lifestyle. But I will say this, God has been, this is the thing, even in the midst of when you are in those valleys, sometimes we are, God is always there. He's always consistent for me. When people fail me, you get what I'm saying? Or whatever that is at the job or whatever it looks like, He's always there. He's always consistent. So for me, that's what's always kept me grounded, is that He always is there to comfort me. He's always there to be my peace. He's always there. And so long as I focused totally on Him, my grandmother used to tell me all the time, we got to focus on God. Books and boys don't mix. She would tell me that when I was at U of M. You got to listen to your grandparents, so she would tell me little things like that. And it was hard at the time, clearly, but those things helped me along the way. She would always tell me to keep my focus on God. Whatever you do, don't forget about God. Don't forget about God. And so I try to keep him to be my focal point. And that's why I don't get so down on myself. And of course, like you said, we have those days, and I'm grateful for them, because they humble me as well. They do. And they keep me grounded as well. So, I mean, I'm grateful, for you to even think of me in that regard, because I have been a person of no compromise. I think you have been the same way. I mean, it's our family, how we grew up, you know what I mean? So it's one of those
Mm-hmm.
things where, your mama don't play, your mama does not play. So my mom don't
No,
either.
she
So
does
it's
not
like,
play.
they have high, they have high standards for us, and I have high standards for myself. So I always
Mm-hmm.
try to make God proud. That's my biggest thing. It's not about my
Yeah.
parents or anything, but making the Lord be proud of me. Because guess what? I don't want to do anything that will make anybody think, oh my God, like she's literally lost her mind. She's, and people are going to say whatever, that's fine. I don't care about that. But I always want to do things to please God, to make God smile, to make God be proud of me. So that's what's important for me. And whether people are happy about it, hey, I absolutely do not care, because it's all about God. So that's the thing for me.
And that's the biggest thing, most important thing. So you guys definitely download her latest release, because it is amazing. You can check the link in part of our Praise Vibes playlist. But Valyncia, I appreciate you joining me this afternoon. I appreciate everything that you've shared. But I want to know, like, for the young women that might be watching, because that is who this show is really geared towards, these younger women that are coming behind us, who, the world is looking pretty fabulous right now. So we're trying to keep them as much as we can. What words of wisdom, advice, or encouragement would you leave to a young woman that is struggling today?
Always be authentically you. Always, no matter what, whether people like you or not, always be true to who you are. I would say don't compare yourself to other people. I think that's huge. Be confident in who you are. Do not compare yourself to others, because what you have, God has blessed you with an awesome gift, whatever that is, and he's giving you the tools that you need to be great. And you have to be comfortable in the skin that you're in. You have to be comfortable with the tools that you have and use them. He's placed everybody in this world with unique gifts, and everybody is great in their own way. So don't get caught on looking a certain way or being a certain way. Be confident in the skin you're in. Be confident with your hair. Be confident with your body. It doesn't matter if you're big, small, short, tall, because we look at that a lot as young women, where we want to look like this person or be this person. And I think it's important to just be you. It's so important. And own who you are. Be accountable to yourself. Always try to believe in yourself. And find people around you who are going to instill great value to you. I think that's important to know what is valuable to you in your life. Have morals, have standards, and just always believe in yourself. I think that's huge. And don't let anybody cause you to take second fiddle to anybody. I mean, I think that's important. Always try to be number one when it comes to whatever you want in your life. Go for it. You can achieve it, believe it, and you'll succeed with it if you just believe in yourself and don't let people dictate their opinions and all that stuff. I think that's important too, to not listen to the noise, try to block out the noise, because there's so much noise now. Everybody's an expert. Everybody is a guru. With no degrees, they're gurus. No experience, they're gurus. So it's important just to trust yourself sometimes and get around people who've done it before, where you've seen it. Get around people who are mentors, who's actually done whatever it is that you want to do, and try to mimic that and try to, glean from those type of people. I think that's what I would say to anybody who's younger. And always put your best foot forward. Always look great, dress nice. I think that's important too. That makes you feel a little bit better too. I like to always tell young ladies that always, try to, wear things that are just amazing. I like fashion, so
Yeah.
you do too. So
yes, I do too. too.
So yeah,
Yes.
always try to look great. I think that's important. It makes you feel better. It does. Get up, get dressed. Don't lay around all day in your pajamas, or you're gonna feel
Listen,
bad.
you will be surprised like how much like just getting up, putting on some makeup, putting on some clothes, like how that changes your whole mood. Like you would really be
Yeah.
surprised. But those are all great tips. I normally start the show with this little tidbit, but I'm going to end the show because it's Thanksgiving weekend. So,
Yay.
thinking BAPs are thankful. BAPs are Black American princesses, which we are. So, Valyncia Jennings, what are you thankful for on today?
Wow. Thankful for life. So many of my family members had COVID. So for me, I'm grateful. I'm glad that I did not get COVID over this
Yes.
18 months. I don't know how that was even possible because I have traveled like crazy and he did not allow it to even come near me. And so I'm very grateful. But I'm really grateful for life because so many people have died the last 2 years. That's number one for me. I'm grateful for my family, first and foremost. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for just literally to be entering into a new season in my life. I feel like I'm entering a new season just at random months. You get what I'm saying? It's like a new embarking thing for me at this point. So I'm very grateful for I'm telling you, when it comes to life, like I really, really am, because for me, COVID changed a lot, just with my family, and it's just life is short,
Yeah.
and just want to seize the moments that I can and live as long as I can. I think that's the biggest thing is life. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned to be grateful for. I mean, after coming out of this, so yeah, it's life. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful for you and my cousin. The family is huge. So clearly, so many of it. I'm grateful for the way that we actually grew up. I'm very grateful because without that upbringing, I mean, you can say what you want to say. It's a lot of things that I take and a lot of things that I don't, receive. You have to kind of take what you need and what you don't, it is what it is. But, I'm grateful because
I would not trade nothing for my journey.
Okay. I wouldn't, and something, I just wouldn't. It's just something about it, and I mean, like I said, some things, I'm not with, but some of the stuff, I'm so grateful that I grew up how I did in the church.
Yeah.
And, like you said, I wouldn't trade nothing for it because it's kept me stable. It's kept me grounded. So I'm so grateful. So, yeah.
No, I gotta say, I'm grateful for that too. The foundation. I used to grow up, and my mom would always be like, "Oh, there are kids. You would be surprised. You should be thankful you're growing up in a Christian home." And I'm like, "Whatever." But as an adult, I can now say I am thankful for the home that I grew up in. I'm thankful for that foundation, putting that word in me, and showing me where to go, like the right direction. Like who can you turn to? Who can I run to? I can run to Jesus. That's one thing I know. I can run to Jesus. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for family, friendships, and relationships. We are going to definitely be hearing a lot more from you. Now, what is the name of your latest release, and where can we find it?
So my latest release is Crossover. It's my single, and you can find it on all digital platforms. So you can find that on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube, wherever you want to go, whatever you use, you can find it on that. And I'll be coming out with my album, The Evolution of Valyncia, soon as well. So it should be great. I'm excited.
You guys stay tuned. The sky is the limit for Valyncia Jennings. Cousin, I am so happy to see you. Thank you for joining me on today. And thank you guys all who joined us. I think we have maybe one more episode I might pull out of my sleeve for this season. But otherwise, we're going to start back in January with season 3 of Melanin Vibes. Like I always tell you guys, embrace the journey. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Valyncia.
Thank you, Adrienne. Love you.
Love you.
Bye-bye.